video.
BYU basketball assistant coach Tim LaComb joining us on BYU Sports Nation. Coach, you made it to Vegas. Welcome to the set.
Thank you. It's great to be here. It's always exciting. It's always an exciting time, and guys are thrilled, and we're ready to get going.
Back in the Orleans Arena, and this is a place that BYU has yet to win a West Coast Conference Tournament championship, but you've been on the cusp. How much is that on top of mind as you come down here this year of getting that tournament crown?
Well, we just, I think the success of every team, and this year for sure, has been not looking too far beyond what the next challenge is. And so at this point right now, we're excited to be here. We know that this is, an opportunity to win a championship. And we're excited to take that first game and not to get too far ahead of ourselves, but certainly excited to be here.
How did you go 8-1 in the back nine of conference after going 5-4 in the first nine? Just
like I just talked about. We talked, we didn't allow the past to determine the future. Coaches, as always, has an unbelievable job of managing his team, and his ability to get the guys to focus on the game at hand and try to get better every day. That's really been the thing that's really helped us the most. I think that first time through, we knew there were certain things we knew we had to get better at. We had to guard better. We had to rebound better. We knew because of our size, that we had to be a little bit more tenacious. And those were the things we focused on day in and day out, and we brought to each game, and we were able to go through that second half with that record.
We've been asking the same question of different people in a quest to get to the answer more, but it seems like it is the answer we're getting, which is, are you just trying harder on defense?
I think that the one thing that's interesting is when we started this season, we were planning to have a couple different pieces to help us, and so there were a lot of things we had to learn and do on the fly. We have not been a team that switched a lot, for instance, off the ball. And so that's something that we implemented because of our size. Being four smalls out there, a lot of times you can switch a lot of things, but in order to do that, you have to communicate really well. And so those are things I think steadily we've gotten better at because we've practiced them, we've played that way. And then rebounding the ball, we're at a disadvantage a lot of times with size on the floor. So we had to make it more of an emphasis. We had to make it more of an effort thing. And so I think, partly, yes, I think we're playing harder, but I think there's also parts of it where these guys have had to learn to do things a little bit differently than we've done in the past, and they're doing a really good job of it.
BYU basketball assistant coach Tim LaComb with us from Las Vegas on BYU Sports Nation. Statistically, you're undefeated when you out-rebound teams. How much do you bring that up to your team, knowing that, hey, if we out-rebound a team, we're going to win?
Well, rebounding is a huge part of every game plan. And we talk about the success we've had when we rebound the ball. We talk about it on the offensive end, getting more possessions. We talk about it on the defensive end, getting a rebound, a secure rebound so we can get out and play in transition. You guys know we play fast. We want to play fast. We want to force tempo. And in order to do that, we have to rebound the ball. If you're always taking the ball out of the net, it's really hard to force tempo. So that's one of the things we talk about ad nauseum with our guys, and we've talked about the success we've had when we rebounded the ball well.
Let's go back to Gonzaga. Remember that time you beat Gonzaga in Spokane?
Yeah, I do.
That was awesome.
That was fun.
Yep.
Isn't that Chris Farley?
Yeah, exactly.
Nice pickup.
Remember when you were with the Beatles? That was awesome.
We could spend so long on that skit. What was your favorite moment from the win there?
I think my favorite moment was when that ball was in the air by Wiltshire, and it looked like it was good.
Oh.
And my heart dropped, and it rattled off the rim, and the time was expired. There's no way they were going to put more time on, and I knew we'd won. That coupled with the fact I just loved our effort all night long. I felt like our guys were locked in from the minute we beat Portland. Coach talked to the guys about getting your minds right. Let's go into this thing. Let's not go to show well. Let's not go to play well. Let's go to win. And everybody gets your mind there. And that's where, that's the most encouraging thing to me is our guys did that. So just the way we approached that whole thing, the preparation was great. And then when that ball bounded off the rim and we won the game, that was a pretty neat moment.
It just had to be that close, didn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of how the year's been. And we're starting to really figure out a way to close the games out and win them. I was really happy for Ryan Andrus stepping up and knocking down 2 free throws.
Yeah.
Ryan's had a year where early in the year he was kind of a DNP guy and didn't get a lot of time, and he stayed with it and fought. And I think that that's the adage of our whole team. I think our guys have regardless of outcomes of games, they've stayed with the team. They've stayed with the coaching staff. Everybody's hung together. And if you can do that, if you can keep your guys together and continue to fight, good things can happen. And that was certainly, you know, the deal that night.
Now, at the time, Jerem Jordan was in Spokane to watch that game. He had a full head of hair still.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
So he's over filming all this. He gets on tape Coach Rose putting Terry Nashifin in a headlock and giving him a noogie. Did you see anything better than that?
No, that was awesome. That was awesome. You know, that is just straight joy. And, you know, I'm so happy for Coach. I told him in the locker room, I'm just so happy for you. But that was, you know, that's what we see every day. Coach is the best. And he loves his team. He loves his coaches, and he's loyal as all get out. And, you know, Coach Nash called a heck of a game from the offensive side, and that was just a little bit of a little joy coming out.
The kid from Washington goes back as a coach on the other side of the state and wins a big game. I thought that was a cool little story.
Yeah, it was neat.
So 6-game win streak. No one else in the conference has more than a 1-game win streak. Did that win validate the effort and everything you guys have been preaching all year?
I don't know about validate. I mean, I think there's so many things that from the outside, you know, there's so much everybody wants to talk about, right? In the middle of the season, we certainly weren't playing up to potential. We felt like we'd left a lot out there on the table. We weren't far off because the games we had lost, we were right there in. But I think what it did was it showed our guys that if you work really hard and you stay with it. I mean, our guys love each other, and our locker room is really, really tight and close, and those guys get along great. But the fact that they hung together and they continued to work and they continued to fight, you know, just more than anything, I think it's just hopefully that's not the greatest thing that happens this season. We feel like there's more to do. We feel like there's more to come. And like I said, we don't get too far ahead of ourselves. We want to stay in the moment and take these games one at a time and go give our very best shot.
There have been some distinct similarities between last year and the dynamic of that team and the push for the NCAA tournament and now this year, especially in conference. You went 5-4 the first 9 last year, finished 8-1. Did what you went through last year somehow help you when you were in a tough situation this year at the turn?
Probably did. You know, coaches, when you win 75, 76% of your games, when you lose repeatedly, I think managing adversity and managing tough times is almost as important as managing success. And I think last year was new for us. You know, we had not lost like that. The losses were a little bit more spread out this year, but they were tough losses. And I think what it did is just helped us to know that it's not our approach. Our approach is fine. We've got to tweak some things. We've got to make some things better. But don't lose hope. Stay with it. Keep fighting. And I think that if anything, that's probably the lesson we learned from last year.
The here and now is to win Saturday. But as a coaching staff, do you have the context of here's an idea of what we might have to do to try and get into the dance as a goal, or do you ignore?
Ignore. I think if you get too far into that stuff, you lose track of what's really important. And let's be honest, the most important thing we can do is win.
Yep.
Right? So I know that if we win 3 games down here, you know, we will go to the tournament. And so that's our mindset is let's just win. Let's just win the game we got. And then they'll give us another game, and let's go win that one. And they give us another game, and we'll go win that one. But not get too far ahead of ourselves.
Tim LaComb, BYU assistant basketball coach with us on BYU Sports Nation. I want to bring up a specific moment again from the Gonzaga game that really got a laugh out of me. When Corbin Kaufusi was asked about his hook shot, he said, well, it's kind of a hook shot I've been working on with a little bit of a prayer involved, which I think is hilarious. And he's so honest and well-spoken. But talk about the development that he has gone through and the improvement that you've seen from Corbin Kaufusi at the number 5 position this year.
Corb's really, really come along. I mean, what really hurt him early in the season is he was battling through some tough injuries, and so he really missed kind of a pivotal part of the preparation for the season. And so, you know, obviously we had to kind of go with what we had in terms of experience and then bring him along. But he's just become, you know, everything that we'd hoped in terms of a rim protector and a great rebounder. And he's starting to, you know, be a guy that can finish at the rim, which is great. He's making his free throws. And we're talking about a kid that didn't play a lot in high school because of injuries. And he was planning to play football, and he grew a ton. And so it's a great story. But we're excited not only about where he is, but we feel like the ceiling's pretty high. and that this offseason with him being healthy is a time that he can continue to really progress. And the fact that we have him for 3 more years after this one is pretty exciting.
It seems like there have been, I don't know how many versions of this team where you think that, okay, this is what works now, and then it switches. You know, Josh Sharp in the lineup and whatnot has kind of been the latest equation. Ryan Andrews. You talked about the DNPs from certain, different guys. Have you had a season like this where you've had to make coaching adjustments mid-season this much to figure it out?
We've had some, but nothing like this.
This is crazy.
I think we started 10 different starting lineups, somebody told me.
Wow.
And
when has that ever happened? Ever?
I've been here 8 years and it hasn't been that way. I mean, coach is pretty much of a creature of habit. He likes to start a lineup and keep it. But like I said, coach is the master. He's unbelievable at knowing his team and knowing what needs to be done. And you look back on some of the early films, and we had a lot of guys trying to play positions in minutes that maybe they, experience-wise, it was tough for them. We had to throw them right into the fray because of injuries. But what I feel like we have now is a whole roster full of guys who have played key minutes in big games, and that when their number's called, they understand what that means and what they need to go out and do to perform. It's not always going in and making a shot. It's being tough. It's getting a stop. It's getting a rebound. It's making a tough hustle play. And I think that's the thing more than anything that's exciting is all those guys have kind of felt it all the way down the roster. And now we've got a little bit more, expanded roster for the postseason.
How in the world are you the top scoring team in the country with no low post presence? How does that happen? Amazing guards?
Yeah, we have great guards. We have a really, really good system, and we play on attack. I mean, you don't have to watch very much college basketball to see teams dribbling the shot clock down to 10 seconds and then attacking. Right. I mean, our deal is let's force tempo. Let's play on advantage, play on attack. And so we live by that. At times we get hurt by it, but we really want to force tempo. We want to play fast, and then we have great guards. I mean, we've got the leading scorer in the history of our school. We've got a kid who, registered 5 triple-doubles this season. We've got a kid shooting, 40+% in chase from the 3. We've got a kid who has just been unbelievable in Skyler. We've got a 5th-year senior in Anson. And then we've got young big guys who are coming along, but those playing with those guards is a pretty fun thing for them.
Isn't it interesting that we've watched so many guys 14 deep? You've gone 14 deep on the bench, and I don't know that I've ever seen that. I do want to finish with this. If you win the conference tournament championship, will you do an Irish jig like Jake Toulson did during that 3-pointer from Skylar Halford?
Most certainly.
Okay.
Oh, nice.
There it is.
Nice.
I love that.
It's better than having to shave your head.
I don't know that I could be as svelte, in my approach. But we win the tournament, I'll sure give it a try.
And we'll be here to tape it.
But I'm not shaving my head. That looks flat ridiculous.
Yeah, no, it's true.
No, I appreciate you taking one for the team. That's awesome.
I opened my big mouth.
No, I love it.
It cost me.
Motivation.
It was the motivation necessary to win?
Absolutely.
Yes, I needed that validation.
Yeah, for me. Yeah, for me. We gotta make sure that dude shaves his head.
Coach, thanks for the time. Good luck.
You bet. Thank you, guys.